Hey guys, it's Eddie. You're watching the video on how to build a basic pad on the Stage 2, the Nord Stage 2. So regardless of what buttons have been pushed the last week, I just want to give you guys a basic tutorial on how to build a pad. So I'm going to start with what you guys normally start with on any weekend, where you open the setting and you have some random sample playing through. So first thing we're going to do is first thing you want to do is make sure that you are on the sample function right here, SAMP. Select the sample number 10, and if you look on the main screen in the center of the keyboard, you'll see that it says String Orchestra. So, okay, so that's our start. Second thing you want to do is make sure that the arpeggiator is off and that anything in this section is also off. So you see here, I have those two lights on, so you just keep on pressing until they all turn off. Alright, so that's our first couple steps. Another thing you want to make sure is off is the LFO. Go ahead and make sure that that's off. And then right here where it says shape, move that over to skip sample attack. And then the biggest, most important section right here is the filter, because this is how we're going to get the tone that we want out of it. Make sure that this part right here is selecting LP12 and LP24 at the same time. And if this light is on, keyboard track, the way to turn that off is to push the shift button, which is in the middle of the keyboard, and then press it, and that'll turn that light off right there. So now let's select the frequency cutoff. So if I'm playing, so if I go all the way to the top, you'll hear how the frequencies are slowly being cut off according to what the screen is telling me. I'm going to set it around 11 o'clock, somewhere around 300 hertz. And again, none of these things are like you have to hit the numbers, just listen to it and you can hear if it sounds better or worse if you go one way or the other. See, that would be worse, so try to find something that works. Okay. Alright, so there's where I'm going to start with my filter. Now with the frequency modulator, there's the 1 and the 2. I'm going to turn both of these off, so I'm going to have this one set at 0, this one set at 0, but this one is at 0's at 12 o'clock here. 0 is just all the way down to the left. I'm going to set my resonance to 1.2, something just like really low. I don't want it to, because listen what happens if I start sounding like feedback. So this is a preference thing, but I'm going to just run it lower because I want to have that higher end to the sample. Okay. Now the most important knobs are these two right here. The amp envelope, where you have the attack and the release. So the attack is going to affect how you actually hear the synth come in. So if I put the attack all the way down, it's going to be immediate. So yeah, as soon as I hit the keys, you hear the sound. Now if I turn it up all the way, that means it's a 45-second attack. So I already started playing, and listen to it start to slowly creep in. That's because it's going to take 45 seconds to reach its full volume. Okay, so that's what the attack does. What you're going to want is something, I don't know, let me hear it. See, that's a little too much. How about this? That sounds pretty good. So I do something that's like at 295 is where it's at right now. So it's just enough. I got to be able to have something that can switch quickly for faster songs between chords, but I also need it not to be so choppy that you can hear all the chord changes. I need it to be smooth in between chords too. So if I'm using the pedal, see, that helps with chord changes. Now decay on this setting, this is the Nord Stage 2. Decay is actually going to cut off the note based on, even if I'm holding the note still, it'll cut it at whatever time I'm telling it. So for the decay, I just leave it on 45 seconds because I don't ever want it to do that. I want it to stop playing when I lift my hand off the keyboard. I don't want it to stop playing automatically. So that what I consider a lot of times decay is actually release on this keyboard. So release is actually when I let go of the key, how long is it still going to resonate? So here's here's the lowest one, 3 milliseconds. Watch, I let go and it just disappears right away. But that's not smooth. No, so that's not going to work. So let's turn it up. Let me see here. Here's like 1.5 seconds. That might be a little too much. Let's try like 900 milliseconds. I like that. About 1 second would be good. Okay. All right, for me that's a basic usable pad. I would use that on a weekend if I had to through the Nord. And then if I turn on the piano, let's see what piano's on right now. Okay, so that's a pretty good one. So if I run both, here's where I'm running the synth level. Okay, so it sounds like it's kind of cutting through a little too much, so I'm going to take this filter right here where we were talking about the frequency and take it back a little bit. Maybe like 270, 290. Let's see here. Sounds better. Alright, so that's the basic setting for the synth section of the keyboard. Now we're going to talk about adding a delay effect to the synth, just to add one more layer to it. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add an effect to our synth. So we go over here to the effects section of the keyboard. And you'll notice right now what's on this preset is that the organ has the delay on. So what I'm going to do is if I push the source button, it just turns it on or off. But if I put switch, to switch it over to the synth, which is what I'm trying to get to, all you have to do is push the shift button, which is in the center of the keyboard. Shift exit, which is the same button, and you hold down shift and then you press this button, and then it'll let you select what source from the keyboard you want to apply the effect to. So in our case, it's the synth. We're trying to put an effect on that synth. And then the button above, the black one, is the tap tempo. So since we're not actually tapping a tempo to a song, we want something that works for all the songs that we're playing in. It's just a little ambient delay that we're trying to add. So I'm just going to put something semi, like medium tempo. So something like that is fine. And then you see right here below that it says ping pong. To activate the ping pong effect, all that means is the delay is going to switch between the left and the right side. So if you're running your pads mono, this will make no difference, at least to my knowledge. I mean, it might sound a little different, but nothing that anyone will ever notice. So it's a great effect to have, especially if you have stereo pads. So to engage that, you just again push the shift button and then push that black button, and you'll see the ping pong effect now turned on. So the next thing is the feedback. Feedback is going to be the amount of delay return. So I'm going to turn, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but up here you'll see the amount of delay, like how much I'm going to hear of it, and then the rate is controlled by right here, the tap tempo. So right now, let's see what it sounds like. Let me turn that up a little bit. So it's going 3, 4. So there's like 3 of them I can hear right here with the feedback. And then if I add a bunch of feedback, I'm going to hear a lot of response to the keyboard. So realistically, what I would use is something, since we're just trying to do an ambient thing, it'd probably be around here. Maybe a little more. I kind of go back and forth with it. But that's because I have the amount so high. So now I'm just going to, now that I know how many repeats, this is how prevalent it's going to be in the mix. So let me turn that down. See, now it's just kind of like sounding like a reverb. Yeah, there we go. Maybe a little less. It's kind of hard to hit. Yeah, so now let go of a chord, it has this cool little trail of delays behind it that'll help it sound more ambient. So now I'm going to add piano. And that's how you build a basic pad.